Vi på TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Facebook. Og ikke glem, abonner.
Welcome. I'm trying my first podcast in New York, and with me today I have Ethan Gordon.
It's good.
You're from Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, Trinidad and Tobago, yeah.
And you live in New York.
Correct.
Currently
I live in New York now.
Yeah. And you're working as a creator.
Yeah. So currently I have two small businesses. All of my 20s, I'm actually in my 30s, early 30s. All of my 20s I was in finance. But recently, like a year and a half ago, I started posting on TikTok, and my mom and I kind of got viral a little bit. So I got a lot of interest and I found it was a lot of fun. So I started on a content creator type of path, I guess you could say. And now I help brands manage their social media and help brands grow their audiences. So I have two businesses, one with stocks and investment and managing people's portfolios, and the other is social media management.
Two very different kind of businesses.
Two totally polar opposite businesses, yeah.
So what kind of brands do you work with?
Currently, my brands are back home in Trinidad. One is a home appliances and furniture store. One is a online sports website, and another one is a financial company. Yeah.
So how do you come up with different content strategies for these businesses?
Yeah, so each of the businesses will be in different, obviously different sectors. And the key is really and truly, what I would do is I would create like 5 buckets or pillars, whereby we'll create different types of content under those pillars of content. And usually the first 2 or 3 months, we would kind of like test out to see what works. And from the first 2 or 3 months, I would be able to know like, okay, this is working, this is not working. And then it's basically in the first 2 or 3 months is a trial and error process. When you know what's working from what's not working, then you could like stop making content that's not working and then lean more on the stuff that is working and also optimize our content. And that's really and truly it. And then furthermore, in the different sectors, they would have players that are already making content. So you cheat, you go and see what's working out there in the market. Cool. In the financial sector, BlackRock is doing XYZ. This worked, this didn't work. And then you take some of those ideas, mesh it with your ideas, and it's again, trial and error, see what sticks. And when it sticks, optimize and double down.
So it's important to steal.
Oh, 100%. Definitely steal content. Because, it's good to come up with ideas yourself. But if something is working, is a reason why it's working, and you just need to understand why it's working. Is it that it's working in that geographical location? Like, just understand what is underneath the hood. And if you believe it'll work for your business, replicate. And then put your own personality on it as well. People that watch social media could see when something is not authentic. So it has to be authentic. It has to be your personality. But you could also piggyback off of a trend or something that is working as well. Yeah.
Are you showing your face when you create these videos for the businesses? Or no?
So I currently have my own social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Mainly being TikTok. I show my face on my own personal social media platforms, but for the social media management, the businesses that I do, I don't show my face. That is, we'll have different strategies. Some may be influencer management, where we'll integrate influencers to do a collab post with the business. We would use user-generated content creators. Sometimes we'll use employees that work in the business. They'll probably have like a photo with the logo of the business. So it's just a bunch of different strategies. But no, I don't personally show my face for the business that I manage.
How do you get the businesses to be willing to bet on you for 2-3 months before they actually start seeing results when you're doing the trial and error phase?
Well, basically, I've just got the first business that I started managing. I did a really good job.
Okay.
I knocked it out of the park. And that has been my case study. And then the second business, I started managing, also did a good job. And you just start building a portfolio, basically, of brands, of good brands as well. And furthermore, I walk the walk as well, because I'm personally posting on my own TikTok, my own Instagram, on my own YouTube. I believe a very evidence-based approach whereby I talk about what I've done and I could show the results. So I think when I speak with brands, they feel good and confident about coming with me based on whatever I'm telling them. I could show in evidence that I've done. So I think that is how businesses will tend to give me like the 2 to 3 month window before they make the decision if this is like a longer term contract. Because that is essentially what most businesses do. They give you like, okay, fine, I'll give you the 3 months. And then if I don't perform, I could be gone, but I've been performing, so yeah.
That's very good. How do you find the pricing model though for the different businesses?
Well, that's a good question. Different businesses have different business sizes and budgets. So typically what I would do, it all depends on the business. Some businesses, have allocated a lot of money towards social media for 2024. So, we will be able to, I would be able to be like, okay, with this capital, this is what I believe we could do. So typically I would ask business, what's your budget? I would also have a minimum in mind for what I'll be willing to accept. But really and truly, each business is different and each business has a different budget. Some businesses use influencers, some businesses don't have a budget for influencers. So it really depends on the size of the business and how much they put in behind marketing.
And you work with other influencers or you do everything yourself? Do you have anyone writing the scripts? Do you have anyone cutting it up?
Yeah. So I have a full team. So I have a team of editors, videographers, directors, myself, who I'm like the creative director behind everything. You have copywriters, script writers. So it's a whole team. And again, it depends on the business's budget. The biggest clients I have, they use it all. The full works from strategy to idea generation, to script writing, to shooting on the day / editing thereafter. The full works of content creation. So yeah, it's a team. It's a team.
Okay. Wow. And how is it to be like, they are in Trinidad and you are in New York?
Yeah. So
how do you navigate that?
So I actually work remotely. So basically what I do is I come up with all the strategy and the ideas. And then I have a director, videographer team that will go and shoot the content. And then myself and the editor will work on how the content will be structured and the output of the content before we deliver it to the client. So, but mainly my involvement is coming up with how I'm gonna strategize. So what's the hook, what's the body, what's the outro, all that kind of stuff. That's what I do. And I don't need to physically be in Trinidad to do that.
That's a great tip for TikTok, creating content for businesses. Like, it's quite difficult finding that hook, what works, and like that niche that they're gonna lean into. And it's a totally different way of marketing than doing Instagram, which is perfection, right?
Sure.
And TikTok is not perfection.
For sure. I would say big on TikTok is, for someone that's now starting, is definitely get a lot of volume. Because every year or every couple of months, the algorithm keeps changing. It keeps changing. I would say going into 2024, what is important, I'd say going into 2024, what is very important is quality and quantity. If you could mesh the two with having a lot of quality and then also being able to do a lot of quantity of that quality, that's the goal. Now, when you now start, you're not gonna know what quality is. So the more content you could push out on TikTok, the better, because you'll get the data, you'll get the feedback, and and you'll be able to decipher quicker what is quality from what is not quality. And then once you're able to figure out what is quality, then you'll be able to lean in and focus more on creating content around what is quality. And I think that's the winning formula for TikTok.
So it's more like you test and see what works, and once you find something that sticks, you double down on it and you create a lot, and then you see if you manage to make it work twice, 3 times, 4 times, then you just, boom, this is where we're gonna go all in on.
Pretty much. And again, it should have like at least 5 different pillars of content. So the key would be to find 2 pillars that work, 2 or 3, and keep creating content, creating content. Sometimes trends change as well. What's really, really popular right now in New York City, especially where we are, is street interviews. People love to see like how people live in New York, their lifestyle, see their apartment, what they spend in a day, just random street interviews with just strangers about their love life and stuff. That is hot right now. But in 6 months, it may not be hot anymore. You know what I mean? So the key is being able to identify that that's hot and integrate your new brand, get in that trend and integrate your new brand into that trend.
So how do you see that? Like TikTok is more about the content, not the follower base. How important is it to build actually followers on TikTok?
The follower base on TikTok is just like a vanity metric at this point, because they have people with 1 million followers that's struggling to pass 2,000 views, which is insane. When you think about it, it's insane. But when you understand what the platform actually is, TikTok is just a full meritocracy-based type of platform, whereby each video is standalone, and if it performs, it performs. If it doesn't perform, it doesn't perform. Now, Instagram is different. Instagram is more of a hybrid of your followers and performance. Instagram, if you have 1 million followers and you post a video that doesn't perform well, you would still get more views. Whereas in TikTok, if you have 1 million followers and you post a video that doesn't perform well, you won't get good views. So they think the difference with Instagram and TikTok, it's harder to build a following on Instagram, but once you do and you post, it should be easier to maintain performance on Instagram, but it's just harder to build. Whereas TikTok, you could create a lot of followers way faster, but you always have to stay on top of your performance. You have to keep creating quality, or else your views will just go down.
It's very difficult on Instagram to get the engagement that you get on TikTok, because people can see who you follow, what video you liked. So people are not so keen on liking and commenting as they are on TikTok.
It's so true.
And as you said, like on TikTok, you're not better than your last video.
Correct.
So you gotta keep pushing quality and focus on that. And as you say, double down on the best kind of content you have. I've been struggling a little bit here in New York with, I do food TikToks.
Sorry?
And I do food TikToks.
Okay.
And in Norway, it's been like going crazy viral.
Really?
And here, like I've been at the best restaurants, like Lindstrøm Pizza. I've done great cafes, super nice. I was yesterday at Sushi Oku, which is like a very nice omakase restaurant.
Right.
But it's not hitting. Do you have to change your location when you're going to New York from Trinidad and other places?
It used to be like that. So I remember about a year ago, I went from Trinidad and I was in LA for a bit. And when I posted a video in LA, and this was a time when my views were flying, right? I posted a video in LA and just crickets, right? But I found recently, within the last 6 months, that it's changed, because I'm in New York now, and when I post content, I feel like my audience is back. So I actually believe that TikTok would have fixed that a bit. Now, there is a feature on TikTok where you could change your location if you stay in the new location or new country for over 90 days, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, so I haven't done that as yet, but I'm exploring doing that. But I'm just afraid if I do that, then my algorithm would push towards America over my audience I've developed in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more research I need to do on that before I make the switch.
Yeah, because you want to attract people from Trinidad to engage with your content, not New Yorkers.
So the main thing for me is social media, and my personal social media is just where I could be creative. You know, I realized growing up, I'm actually very creative, and I get a high satisfaction when I post content that I like. So I don't necessarily want to be like a influencer or like a big time content creator. My social media platform is just for me to express myself in the way I feel at that point in time. Furthermore, I also use it because I do get data from posting, and real-time data that is. So when the algorithm does change, I'm able to help the brands that I manage as well. So it's two reasons why I do it. But ultimately, I just enjoy content creation, and I would like to keep it for that purpose only of when I post. I was going to connect, and I forgot the question that you'd asked me originally. I was going to connect it. What was the question you'd asked me?
If you see, like, if you're based in Trinidad, do you want New Yorkers to be your followers or Trinidad?
So coming back full circle, I would love for New Yorkers or to start building an audience out here, but I feel like I don't want to leave the audience that I created back there. You know what I mean? So, and because I'm doing this just for fun, more so than for like money, I won't want to start over as well. You know, so I just need to figure out if I do change my location, how that will impact how the algorithm sends out my new videos. But again, this is another reason why it's important, I believe, in 2024 for anyone that is in the digital marketing space to create their own content. So when you encounter these type of problems, you'll know how to better advise the people the brands that you manage.
That makes total sense. Now, for me, myself, like right now when I'm in the US, I'm making the content in English, I'm writing it in English, but I see like most of the engagement that I get is actually in Norway from Norwegians. It's not actually any New Yorkers that it shows up to. So that's why I was wondering, like, is it just showing to people in Norway and I'm totally acting stupid speaking English?
So yeah, just based on what you told me, I think TikTok did fix the location because most of your views are still coming from Norway, correct?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, most of my views still come from Trinidad and the Caribbean, even though I'm in New York right now. So yeah, maybe you could potentially start putting the text on screen back to Norwegian.
Okay, yeah, I'll also do the voiceover, and I'll do that also in Norwegian. I'll test that actually later today, but definitely. Yeah, it will be a very interesting. But it's also like, I don't need any New Yorker following because like most of my content will be in Norwegian anyway. I want to have it very niche, like I want to have it city-based, not just Norway. I want to have it actually specifically Bergen in Norway.
Okay.
That way you have more engagement with your actual followers. So let's say the algorithm is shooting out to the 200-300 people, the first start of the video, and that's your followers. If they're widespread everywhere, you will not have the same engagement, but if they're very local and niche, then you'll probably have a lot more engagement and it will go viral. And for me, this trip is more about like creating content that will be on the platform. It will be stable. It will show, okay, this guy, he eats at the finest restaurants in New York, the best pizza places, he knows everywhere. And that's what I want to show. Like, it's not just in Bergen and Oslo, I know where it's going on, but also in New York City and other places.
Cool. Definitely. So
how is it like living in New York? How is like rent? Like I read rent is going through the roof.
Yeah, no, New York is an expensive city, bro. It's very expensive. And that's one thing, because I make my money in Trinidad, when you translate that to New York, I was living good in Trinidad in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
When you translate that to New York, then it's just like, you know what I mean? So it's interesting. It's interesting, but I've found I'm very like, when it comes to like my finances, very organized. Normally I'm not that organized of a person, but when it comes to like money and that kind of stuff, I'm very organized. So every month I would like track like my expenses and stuff, and I would see where like I could save and that kind of stuff, and you know, I have my finances under control. But for now, I think it's a good payoff because I love the lifestyle in New York. It's a big city if you like city life. It's a big city, it's fun, and I have family here, I have friends here. So yeah, but if you're not wise with your money, you could end up in trouble.
Do you see yourself having American clients down the line, or?
100%, 100%. Yeah, I visited Gary Vaynerchuk's
Yeah, Media
office.
Yeah,
I didn't meet him.
Hudson Yards.
Yeah, Hudson Yards.
I've been there too.
It's pretty cool. It's just cool to see someone, I guess, that just came from like a wine store for so many years, and now he's elevated himself to be where he is with a huge office with, I would assume, over 500 employees, and, you know, worldwide too. You know, It's just, I just saw his New York office, but he's all over the place, all over the world. So just seeing that was just eye-opening. It was inspiring. And right now I just feel like I'm in the right space as well. You know, like digital media, social media marketing, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Traditional marketing is actually dying. Every year it's just dying. More money is going from traditional to modern. And most importantly, I just enjoy it. So yeah, I would definitely love to be global at some point in time. Yeah.
Did you meet Gary when you were at the office?
I didn't.
Okay.
I saw him.
You saw him?
I saw him, but he was like on a call. He was busy.
Yeah.
So, you know, I didn't want to... I was with a friend too, so, you know, I respect him and everything, so...
I was there in 2019 with D-Rock, the guy who used to do his vlogs. Yeah. I was supposed to do a podcast with him here, actually, but he was in Hawaii. And yeah, we've been going back and forth since 2017. I gave Gary a watch in 2017.
Oh,
and then,
no water?
Yeah, I think we got some water. Nice. And yeah, so Gary was at Oslo Business Forum, and I bought a ticket. I went to see him, went down. Like, I know you don't wear watches, but hey, I make watches. I don't know if you will wear it, but this is a gift from me. And then I think it was like
cool.
a couple.
You gave it?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then 4 or 5 months later, I get a DM, or I saw D-Rock was wearing the watch. People sent it to me that he was wearing the watch. And I started chatting with D-Rock, and he's like, yeah, can you send like 5-10 watches, and we can do it like for the 60-second club. And because like Instagram had that if you engage in the first 60 seconds, then you will get a lot more spread back in the day.
Right.
So every creator was like trying to get as much engagement in the first 60 seconds, right? And so I have a screenshot of him giving away one of my watches on his Instagram story.
Ooh, that's cool.
And I kept in contact with D-Rock for all these years. And I met him like 3 times when I was here in the summer of 2019. And he took me to their office and showed me the team, like 35 people working on Gary Vaynerchuk content. So it was pretty awesome. Gary was on summer vacation, so he wasn't there. I guess he's starting to relax a little bit. Taking care of his family and everything. But it was pretty awesome. How do you feel like you come from Trinidad, which is very relaxed, and then you come to New York, which is probably the most stressful place to be in the world? How do you deal with that?
That's a good question. Trinidad is surprisingly not as relaxed as people think. I think in the Caribbean, it's one of the busier Caribbean islands because we have a lot of oil in Trinidad. But compared to America, definitely relaxed. Definitely. We have a lot of holidays every year and that kind of stuff. But it kind of boils down to like what you want in life, I guess. Because I lived in New York before, so I knew what the lifestyle is. I have like a lot of friends there, I have family here, and I was just ready for the change, you know? And I've come into New York, it's like, it's no more fun and games. It's like, you either swim or sink.
Yeah.
Or sink or swim or whatever, you know? And I feel like since I've been here, I've been just razor focused. Like, whereas before, again, because I was in Trinidad, I was making okay money where, like, you know, I have a little spot, I have a car, I can do whatever I want. But here is more of a like, there's no time to mess around. You know what I mean? So I've just seen, since I've arrived, my focus level just naturally changed. And I feel like for whoever wants to come to New York, you just need to adjust, you know, because if you don't, you really will drown.
Is it because you see like the big difference between people? There's homeless people everywhere, like the struggles on the subway, the people that are really just trying to survive, and you see, okay, I gotta step it up. I don't want to end up sleeping on the subway pretty much, like, and then you just get an extra gear and you just go all the way in.
You know what I would say? I don't even look at it from like a pessimistic standpoint. I look at it more from like an opportunistic standpoint, because I feel like if you do good in New York, you're good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you make it here, you're set. Whereas like, if I make it back in the Caribbean, I'll be good, you know, drive a Mercedes or something. But if I translate that same thing, for instance, let's just talk about the social media business I run. If I translate the same big clients I have in the Caribbean to up here, it's a whole next level. You know what I mean? And that you could enter wealth, you know, wealth status very, very easily if you do well in a city like New York. So I think for me, I just see so much opportunity. I know I'm going to be successful. It's only a matter of time. It's inevitable. I genuinely believe that.
Yeah.
So I just need to like put in the work now and get things set up, and then enjoy my, you know, rest of years.
It's all the skills that you build now, the compounds, and then it makes it easier once you fit the product market fit, pretty much what you want to do. So, but this podcast is also about wealth. What is wealth to you?
That's an interesting question. That is an interesting question. Wealth, I would say to me, is not having to work, but also being very well off. I would say having a lot of assets, living off of dividends. Of course, in order to live off of dividends, you need a lot of cash or a lot of assets like real estate and etc. I think that's what wealth is, because a lawyer is rich.
But besides monetary wealth?
Oh, besides financial, I mean, this might sound real basic, but just happiness, I guess. So I would say to me, happiness is having a family, having kids, and enjoying what you do. And also being financially stable.
And good health?
And of course, good health. Number one, good health. Yes.
And you have a family member who's in ridiculously good health. Who does a lot? No, yeah, you have. Who does a lot of hang-ups.
What's hang-ups?
Pull-ups, pull-ups,
okay,
sorry.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Right. Oh, my grandpa.
Yeah, your grandpa.
Oh, yeah. So
how old is he?
So my grandpa is 93, and he is still able to do like 27 pull-ups. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I actually did a video with him. That was like my first YouTube videos. Probably clip that in or something. But yeah, he's 93 and he works out like nearly every day. He doesn't eat fruits. He doesn't like fruits. So
no fruits.
No fruits. Zero fruits. He doesn't like fruits. But you know, he eats decent. He doesn't eat like a lot of fried food and stuff like that. So he eats cool. But I mean, I think he's gonna live for a very, you know, a lot more years. I think it's mainly because he exercises all the time. So I think
What kind of exercise does he do?
So he does cardio. He does like 3 to 5 miles, I think 4 days a week in the morning. And then he'll go to the gym and he does certain things. He does pull-ups, push-ups, and like 2 other exercises. I think he does that 4 or 5 times a week. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's so I mean, health is wealth, and exercise is a big part of it. Big part.
Do you follow his example?
I've started to. Again, coming to New York, I've just got back into eating better, just like be more fit, and I'm just like the 2.2 version of myself right now. And so, yeah, I go gym 4 times a week. I eat a lot better. And all of that came when I was looking at like my financials and looking at where I could cut down, just cutting down a lot of outside eating. And I don't know, everything is just leveling up for me right now. So, but health is most important, because if you're not healthy and you're not around to enjoy the money you make, what's the point of making money? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, but yeah, no. Yeah.
You cook at home?
I've started to.
I don't think anyone in New York cooked at home.
No, yeah. At dinner time, I've started to. Not the best.
Okay.
But good enough. Good enough.
What kind of budget do you need to move to New York these days?
I would say, well, it depends. It depends on how low you're willing to live.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if you are okay with living with roommates, I would say you could potentially live on like $1,500 rent. That's if you're living with 2 or 3 roommates. If you don't want to live with roommates, then I think you're looking at like easily $3,000, maybe 25 plus $3,000, $35,000, $4,000, depending on which area you want to live. So depends on you if you want to live with roommates or not live with roommates. And then in terms of food, I would say again, this depends on the type of person, but someone like me that's cut back down on food, my food expense, I spend like $700 a month on food. Whereas before I would spend, it's the going out is what kills you. Going out and eating dinners, that kills you. So once I cut that out,
the tipping,
tipping and the dinners, and that your food would be like 1,000 plus for sure. But right now I do like $650 to $700 a month. And those are the main expenses. And then the other one is transportation. I have the unlimited subway ride, which is $132 a month.
Okay.
I use that all the time. When you use Ubers a lot, that racks your bill up big time. So it depends on the person, how comfortable they want to live, how much they're willing to sacrifice. But I think you could easily come to New York and live on like $3,500. $3,500 a month. If you're willing to live with roommates, not eat out too much, not take cabs and Ubers, you could easily live off for $3,500.
And then you live in Manhattan or in Brooklyn or where for that budget?
Yeah, no, you could live for that budget. You'd be surprised. The main thing you need to figure out is the rent. But I would say there are opportunities in Manhattan where you could get like a $1,500 to $1,700 rent once you live with roommates, right? There are opportunities. You have to be patient. You have to do your due diligence and research. You could find that. You could find that in Manhattan, of course, Brooklyn, Bronx, wherever you want to look. But if you want to live in Manhattan, just be a little patient, do some research, and you'll find it.
Awesome. Think we're going to round up there?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ethan.
Good stuff, bro.
Great seeing you again.
Man. Good seeing you. I've known this guy for like over 10 years, so looking good.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.